I think it's important for people to know, like, like there's a medical purpose for that. And I didn't go through a doctor for it, but like the lady that I went through, she's had a lot of training. You know what I mean? Like she was there to keep me safe. And I think
Okay.
it's important, like if you're going to do it, to like really help yourself, like you need to have somebody there with you. And it's not like I didn't do that shit for fun. You know what I mean? Like I did that because I was trying to heal some stuff inside of me. So I do think it's important to talk.
So, microdosing, you said you didn't go through like a professional or a provider or a doctor or anything like that. How did you find the person to, watch you and monitor how your body was going to respond to it?
So she has a lot of training, and like she's done and a lot of ancestral work and like shamanism and stuff like that. And so that's like, right up there, like herbal medicines are right up there with her stuff. And so she has certifications with that. And she lives in California. And I can't remember why I started following her in the first place, but there was something that she, was just on my Instagram page, something she said that caught my eye, and I was like, I'm interested in this. And then I had been following her for like, I don't know, 5 years or something. And then she said something, because you can't say microdose, you can't say psilocybin, you can't say certain things. And I was like, what's she talking about? I think she said a plant medicine ceremony. And I was like, what's that? I want to know what that is. And so then she told me about it, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of scared, but I also want to do it. And so yeah, so she's in California, she's in Los Angeles, where it's not legal, but it's decriminalized. So it's not, you're not going to get in trouble if you have it there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so I talked to her about it. I'm in Texas, so I was like, I need somebody I can trust. So we arranged for me to go down there, and she took a whole day and made sure that I was safe. And usually, she said it takes about 4 to 5 hours for somebody to go through like a whole, like, you know, finding the right dose, and doing whatever work the medicine needs to do for you, and then coming back out of it and being your normal self. And when I went in, she was like, okay, do you want like a I'm having fun kind of like light kind of work done, or do you want to like go deep? And I was like, no girl, like I traveled miles, I want to go deep, like I want to get the full experience, like I want to get what I came here for. And it took 7 hours, and a lot of it was scary. However, like with psilocybin, you kind of go in waves. So like you'll go in and you'll feel, whatever it is that the medicine wants you to feel. And then you'll kind of come up and you'll kind of feel kind of normal again. And so every time she was there and she was waiting for me, and she like had questions, and she was helping me through, what did you see? How did that affect you? What kind of clarity did this part of your journey give you? She made sure I had food. She made sure I had water. She made sure that, I wasn't seizing or, any kind of crazy stuff. And so after it, I was like, I felt so uplifted, and
Uh,
like, yeah, like immediate, like for weeks afterwards, I was like, oh my God, that was the most amazing experience. Like, I think everybody should experience that and do it. And then she sent me home with some microdosing pills, and I was taking them and I was doing fine. Like she sent me like, I think 15, and you're supposed to do a schedule and blah, blah, blah. So I did all that. And then she sent me another 15. I was like, I want to do it again, because I want to make sure, like, in reality, when you're doing microdosing, it's just like it takes the very top edge of your like overthinking brain off, so that way you can kind of like see underneath that, like, okay, I see that I'm sad. Why am I sad? You know what I mean? Like it really kind of gets to that kind of stuff. But that second set she sent me was kind of strong. And I went through something, and I was like, I had to call her. I was having a panic attack, and I was like, I need your help. Like, I feel like I'm insane right now. Like, I'm an old lady with dementia, and I'm like living in this crazy world. Like, I need your help. And she helped me, talk me through it. And I was like, okay, maybe this isn't for everyone. However, if you are in a place in your life where you feel like you want to do something unconventional, that, psychologists are starting to get into that kind of stuff. But I don't know how much research they've done, and what they know about it. Like this lady, she's done it herself. You know what I mean? Like she understands the types of things that can happen to you. And plus she's done a lot of the ceremonies herself for like other people.
Okay.
And so she really knows like what to expect, you know what I mean? And so I was so glad that I went to her, because she didn't come to me with like this psychoanalytic like, oh, and how does that make you feel, you know, like, I don't know, I feel like mainstream psychology can be so unfeeling, you know what I'm saying?
Cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so and I'm sure some of it has to do with the fact that she did it herself too, right? So like she was able to really connect with me on a deeper level and really help me. She listened very well and didn't try to give me like, "Oh, well you should do this or you should do that." You know, she was like, "Oh, you're listening to your body. Like you're doing what you should be doing to decompress the situation, and I'm glad that you contacted me." You know what I mean? Just like she was really there for me. So blah blah blah, long story short, I think that if you're ready for something like that, I think that you should find somebody that really can help you in a way that mainstream psychology can't. um, but I do definitely think that it was worth all of the stuff that came out of it. You know, I don't know if you've heard the term like doing shadow work or
Mhm.
you know, the dark night of the soul and stuff like that. And so it's like, man, that stuff came out, you know, and there's some stuff that I had been traumatized as a child about that I had, you know, you repress it. Your body says this is too much. I can't handle this. I don't know what to do with this. And so it just says it's, you know, it's going to be in the back. And a lot of that stuff came up, and I was like, I didn't realize how much I actually knew, you know, deep down inside, and then how much I was suppressing, and how, you'll have to excuse, ducks are passing by in the background.
I heard it. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, you might be able to see them.
I do.
So anyways, and then the good thing about, you know, being with her and having that time with, like, every time, like I said, I came back up on top, you know, when I was doing the deep ceremony, like she was able to, and I don't know what she did to prepare herself for that ceremony, but she was able to intuitively know like almost what I saw, you know, and help me
Wow.
process it. And she was like, okay, what did you see this time? And, you know, I told her, and she was like, yep. And what do you, you know, how do you feel like that affected you? Like, you know, like there was some sexual trauma, some, you know what I mean? And I didn't, my mom had always told me that there was, but I didn't remember it. So I didn't
That's
like,
the way the body, and that's the way the body
yeah,
and God protects us sometimes
yeah,
by not being in the forefront. It's back, it's in there, it's repressed, and sometimes,
yeah, yeah.
you don't remember all the details, and sometimes not
No.
even the event.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so, like, you know, it didn't help me remember every single thing either, but it helped me to get enough clarity to know that something did happen, and I know who it was, and I know who was involved. You know what I mean? But also, and it, I'm gonna get emotional here. It helped me to process it in a way that it's something that happened. You know what I mean? Like, I came out of that with like knowing like that person did that to me because something happened to them and because they were hurt and they were, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like, and I can't say this for everybody, but for me, it wasn't malicious. It was more like it happened to me, so I thought it was okay type of deal, you know? And so it helped me process it in a way where I was able to immediately be like, no, I actually can forgive them for that and move on with my life.
Wow.
You know
That's
what I mean?
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, golly, it really is. It really is. And so I haven't seen that person since I did the deep journey a year ago last August. And I haven't seen them since then, but I do believe that when I do, I'll be okay. So,
Absolutely. So, quick question. Psilocybin, is it, where does it stem from? Is it a man-made chemical? Is it something that's naturally grown? What is it, and where does it come from?
yeah, so psilocybin, and don't forgive me because I don't have all the. I thought DMT and psilocybin were the same thing, and they're not. So you
I
got to
don't even
correct
know
me on
what
that.
DMT is. I'm like,
It's
what?
I can't, I don't know.
Okay.
But that's not what it's DMT is something that's naturally produced by the body, and you can kind of spur it on with outside sources. But
Okay.
psilocybin is in mushrooms. So when you hear the term shrooms,
Yep.
that's what they're talking about.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, absolutely all natural. I don't know if she got it from an organic source, but I am going to assume, because of the type of person she is, that she did get it from an organic source. But yeah, I mean, naturally grown. And so, with that kind of stuff, you kind of have to trust that the plant knows what you need, and you do your dosing based off of what medical science tells you. And so she based it off of a couple of different factors, and I don't know what all of them are. I'm not the professional, but something to do with my weight, and then some other factors that she got intuitively. And so, we kind of did the really light thing just to get me kind of like used to it, like to say, okay, this is what it's going to feel like. This is kind of what you're going to go through. And then she's like, okay, you want to go deep? And I was like, I want to go deep. And I swear I went back to the beginning of time. Like, it was an insane journey. It was an insane journey.
Does your mind have to already be in that space to where you're willing to accept whatever comes to you in order for it
Absolutely.
to work?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And so we definitely, she started off the ceremony with just like, let's have a chat over a cup of tea. And so we started there, just a regular like herbal tea. And she asked me some questions, and we got into a place where I was open. She reads cards. And so she was like, okay, let's do a flip, let's pick a deck that speaks to you, and let's flip a couple of cards. And it was kind of like, it kind of guided me, because it was like, we're going to talk about, and I can't remember exactly because it was over a year ago, but like, we're going to, like, something that's coming up for you is, ancestral stuff. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. She's like, okay, what does this mean to you? Blah, blah, blah. And so we went through that stuff, and it really got me in the mind frame of where I needed to be at. So she took her time with it. And that's another reason why I say it's so important, especially because it was such a long journey. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what a medical professional would give you, but I mean, 7 hours is a full day's work. You know what I mean? Like,
That is. So
yeah.
what is her title? What is she called?
Well, she's a light worker. She calls herself a light worker. I mean,
Light worker.
yeah,
Okay.
she has a lot of different trainings and teachings under her belt. She's been doing it. I think oh, I can't remember, over a decade. I want to say between 10 and 20 years. I can't remember exactly. But I mean, she keeps doing her and continuing education and all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't know her. I just knew her from Instagram, but I trusted her, and I'm glad that I did, because I'm still working through some stuff, right? I mean, obviously we always will be, but she really opened up a doorway that I didn't realize was closed,
Okay.
you know? So,
Did
but
it
yeah,
change your perspective as far as life or how you communicate and interact and understand the world around you?
yes, absolutely yes. It has. I've already always been a very sensitive to other people and their energy and like their emotional states and things like that, just because of the way that I was brought up. But this,
How were you brought up? I'm sorry to interrupt.
oh my gosh. I love my mother very, very much. Let's just preface it with that. She
Right?
did the best that she could with what she knew, right? Um, Very strict household. I mean, I'm talking about like, your needs don't matter. We're going to do what we need to do to get stuff done type of deal. Um, if you speak in public and you're out of turn, you're going to get chastised in public. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get spanked. You're going to get timeouts, and some of the stuff that she did, I'm like, she would be in jail. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
so so basically it made me very aware of the environment that I was in. Like, I really had to judge the room before I said or did anything. You know what I mean? So that made me really sensitive to people's their emotional states, and my how I interact with them, and how that can make that worse or better or whatever.
Wow.
And
As a
so,
child.
as a child, yes, absolutely, as a child, but I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
just did what I had to do. I was living life. I was doing what I had to do. And so, being in the military really uh, accelerated and inflamed that. Like, it made me extremely sensitive and like I had severe anxiety and things like that because I was always worried about the environment and oh my gosh, how am I, affecting this and blah. Anyways, so
Oh.
now it's like I can see the situation and I can tell that, I mean, I got so involved emotionally with people that I wouldn't even know that it wasn't like, I didn't even feel like that. You know what I mean?
You were taking on all their energy.
Yes.
That's
Yes. And I
draining.
think, oh my
Extremely draining.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. And so now it's like sometimes it still gets me, but I can see, okay, that's not mine. Let me stop right there with that. You know what I mean? I don't have the energy or the time for this right now, and I don't need to have the time or energy for that now. However, I can also be um, sympathetic to how they're feeling and choose how I want to show up for them, if at all. And so I can understand what they're going through and find out if I have a place in that situation or not. Whereas before I was like, let me help you. Let me help you. Let me do this for you. Let me, and then I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm so depressed. I'm so this, I'm so that. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? Well, because I wouldn't take care of myself. So absolutely yes. The answer to your question is absolutely yes.
Okay.
It has changed the way that I perceive the world and everyone around it, including animals. I mean, yes.
Would you say that your relationships have improved since then?
The ones that I still have, yes, I think
Okay.
so. Because
Okay.
I've also learned how to give myself boundaries. So that way I know, okay, this is starting to become a little bit overwhelming for me. I need to course correct and do something that is beneficial to me as well. And so, it's hard at first because you're like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. But then you realize, well, okay, first of all, it hurts their feelings more when they find out you lied because you thought you could handle something and you knew you couldn't deep down. Um, and so it gave me more of a freedom to be myself, which in turn made I I think that it made them appreciate me more. You know what I mean? Like especially my husband and my kids. Like it was a little hard for them at first because okay, she's saying no. Why she's saying no? She used to always say yes.
Yep.
You know?
You switched it on them.
Yeah. But I think that now they understand. And I've actually my youngest. I have the most um, uh, tumultuous relationship with. She's also very highly sensitive to things that are going on around her, and for the longest time I didn't realize that she is me. Some of that stuff that you have going on, it's accentuated in your kids. And
Absolutely.
so so I think that we're finally getting to a point. She's 18 now, but we're finally getting to a point where I can now better understand her emotional state and separate it from mine. And then I think that helps us communicate better, which she appreciates more too. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, long journey, girl.
So how many children do you have? You have all girls then? Because I
All
remember the two
girls.
baby girls,
Yes.
Jocelyn, and then I can't remember the one
Yeah.
that came after.
Yeah. So she was Jordan, but we call her Madison now. Her name.
Jordan, yes.
Yeah. And then I have a stepdaughter that's older, and so she's 26. That's off the top of my head. Don't make me do math. But yeah, so all girls.
Wow. And now you have an 18-year-old, so she's the last.
She is the baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. So um it's a mushroom, psilocybin is a
Hmm.
mushroom, but they can make it into a pill form to where you can cut it and dose it properly.
So I don't know if they can do that yet. The lady that I got the microdosing pills from, she grinds up the stuff herself and uses the glycerin capsules. So she
Okay.
makes it. She makes them herself. So
Okay. Are you still using it, or is that just
yeah. So I stopped after I had that bad freak out. I stopped for I don't know 6 months because I mean I kept having like panic attacks after that because I was like I feel like I'm in an illusion and I feel like I'm all alone and it was very scary. And then it made me extremely, I had never been scared of death before, but it made me extremely scared of dying because I was like, my work here is not finished. Like, I know it's not done. And I'm like, I'm worried about my kids and all this other stuff. And I'm like, why am I worried about this? So, anyways, I took a break and I'm still on the same pack that I got from her that had that. And it was just some weird random, it hasn't happened again. Um, and I still have a couple of pills left and I'm doing them kind of as I feel led to. Like I feel like today is a day that I should. And in reality, like I said, just that one time was weird, but and it's because I hadn't processed some stuff, like I really wanted to hold on to. I know now it was like I really wanted to hold on to the illusion that I had of myself, and
Mm.
like that part dying. And
Wow.
so yeah, it was crazy though. But anyway, so now it's just like it helps me. It's almost like, you have your morning rituals or whatever it is that you do. Some people pray, some people meditate, some people just think about their day over a cup of coffee or whatever it is, right? And so for me it's just, I say an affirmation, if you will, before I take the pills, just something, hey, I would like to focus on blah 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 today. And I can't necessarily feel the pill working, but I know it's there, and so it gives me this sense of like letting down my guard kind of. And it really helps me to be more objective in my thoughts instead
Okay.
of being a part of them. You know what I'm saying? Like getting overwhelmed and whatever. So, yes, I do think after this set is over, though, I'm going to take another break because I think, just with anything, there's a normal ebb and flow to everything. And so I'll take a break. But
Okay. Interesting. I'm thinking about this.
it is,
um,
it is a big commitment. Like, you got to be, if you're going to do it for its therapeutic benefits, you got to be ready for it.
is it strictly for um getting like emotional balance, or do you also get like a physiological change like in your body? Like, do you feel lighter or high or anything like that?
Um, so it depends on the amount that you take, right? And so with microdosing, it's more about helping to open up. Like psilocybin has been studied and is known for changing um, the brain waves the way your brain waves are patterned
Okay.
in your brain. I don't know exactly how it works, but I do create new neural pathways. And
Are you
so
serious?
yeah, yes. And so it's like you become a whole new you know what I mean? Like I really do believe that I'm so much better equipped to handle a lot of things than I was before I started this a year ago. Like I said, I'm still obviously working on it, but like even just my level of anxiety and getting frustrated with situations and stuff, like totally different. I mean, I can tell that and I'll have to ask my family if they've noticed an actual like significant difference. I would say that my husband definitely does because he treats me differently than he did before in a
Whoa.
positive way. So absolutely yes, I do think that I have changed emotionally, physiologically yes, because like I said, it creates new neural pathways. And yeah, so I know the more and more, and I do other functional mushrooms too, that don't have any kind of psycho.
Like the lion's mane and stuff like
Yeah,
that? Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, lion's mane, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. So I
Okay.
do Four Sigmatic, and they make the stuff. I just put it in my coffee, like.
Okay. I saw something like that. I think even on Instagram too. They were talking about this mushroom stuff that it's coffee or whatever, and you take it,
Yeah.
it gives you clarity and all of that energy throughout the day. I was like, because I really want to stop drinking actual coffee, caffeine.
Yes.
Not good for my gut. But it would be nice to have something, in place of that gives you that coffee feel.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome to hear that you taking these the stuff that it has helped in your relationship so much to that it's changed the other people and how they respond and react to and treat you.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that, and then also in line with that, I also follow Dr. Nicole LaPera on Instagram, and I have her book. She is a psychiatrist or a psychologist, um, but she specifically focuses on childhood trauma and how it affects the rest of your life and how you can untrain yourself from those patterns and stuff. And so, and she doesn't mean like it doesn't have to be sexual trauma. It just has to be like, I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel heard when I was a child, I didn't feel emotionally secure when I was a child. I had a parent that was emotionally unavailable. And so she talks about, you know, what that looks like in your adult life and then some ways that you can change that. And so I think both of those things together have really, really like skyrocketed my growth and development. I wish I had known about it younger
Of
because,
course.
then I could have not passed on some of that crap to my kids. You know what I mean? So now we're unlearning it together.
That's right.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't know what you don't know until you know it,
Absolutely.
and then you do better, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that information.